What's that? You're rolling. Oh, okay then. Sorry about that, folks. Just taking a quick breather. I was very relaxed, but I can't say that I am anymore.
Thanks, George.
Please, excuse my appearance. You've caught me a little, off guard. You see, I've just spent the last year, working on a very top-secret project, if you know what I mean. Highly classified, and I haven't really had a chance to think about anything other than my frantic schedule. But more about that a little later. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Quincy Kaplan, or QC as I prefer to be called, and I'm a professional conversationalist. I talk for a living, as many of us do, and I've been asked today to speak to you briefly about an issue that has a number of my closest colleagues across the contact center industry in a bit of a panic. But before I go any further, let me just quickly straighten myself out. Whoa! That's not right. Much better. Okay, so where was I? Oh, right. The contact center industry. Our industry. But where do I begin? Well, let me take a step back for a moment and tell you a story that I think is pertinent to the challenges that the contact center industry is currently facing. Many years ago, my grandfather, Quigley, opened a small violin store specializing in fine instruments, and even finer chit-chat. At the time, I was only a youngster, and being a family business, and me being family, I often found myself sweeping floors, washing windows, and delivering orders. For a couple of hours after school each day, I would join my grandfather at the store doing odd jobs and helping out where I could. And I've got to tell you that even though I was well paid, spending most of my free time trapped indoors wasn't exactly my idea of fun, particularly when my friends were out enjoying themselves. But despite my constant grumbling, the experience provided an introduction to what I've now come to realize is a critical aspect of the contact center business, and business in general. You see, while my grandfather was an adept violin maker, it wasn't his craftsmanship alone that ensured that his business was successful. He had an extraordinary knack for talking, for holding conversations that sought out and dissolved the source of each customer's frustration, that uncovered their innermost wants and desires, and that developed relationships that often lasted for years to come. No mean feat, considering how passionate violin players can be. He spoke to them as individuals and understood that each had, in their own way, unique requirements. So, fast forward to 2007, and there I am, sitting in a cafe speaking to a couple of my closest colleagues, Kevin Panozza and Frank Romano, over a coffee and biscotti. Good coffee, too, if I remember correctly. Anyway, we're sitting there discussing the nuances of the contact center industry, the challenges that we seem to face on a regular basis, and I find that our conversation keeps returning to a common theme. It seems that customers are becoming much easier to lose, while agents are growing harder to retain. A thought particularly relevant in today's financial climate, where economic stress and uncertainty plagues and pressures customers and organizations alike. So this got me thinking. Have customers really become easier to lose, or are they simply being provided with so much choice and hyped expectation that their requirements need to be managed and met first time, every time? If not by our company, then certainly by a multitude of competitors. And what about our agents, the collective voice of our organization? Are they just looking for a change of scenery, or have we been neglecting an important aspect of their training? Training that may have better prepared them for the challenges inherent in meeting the expectations of customers and organizations. To complicate the matter, this has been compounded by the current economic instability. Customers seem to be waiting longer in queues and then looking for more bang for their buck, while companies are escalating their expectations and looking to streamline profitability. I can tell you now that there's no one definitive answer, but the situation and our discussion certainly highlighted that a new approach was required. You see, the days where consumers rely solely on local stores and merchants for products, services and advice have indeed passed. We're now in the midst of a global marketplace, fueled by the increased saturation of technology and media exposure, where the savvy consumer has the ability to search not only their own backyard, but the international marketplace via the internet for better products, better advice, better deals, and even better service. So where does that leave us? I mean, if customers want more and organizations are aiming to provide less, how do we find a viable median? Well, this is where the vivid memories of my time in the violin store sparked an idea that I believe will revolutionize the way that organizations communicate with their customers. The premise: begin holding conversations that are meaningful, that allow the organization to reach out and connect, not just on a transactional level, but on a personal one as well. Like my grandfather did so many years ago, we need to focus on communicating in the most efficient, effective, and engaging way possible. We need to hold quality conversations. I mentioned earlier that I've spent the last year working on a top-secret project. A long and exhausting process, really, but one that has ultimately paid off. You see, during that time, I've been working closely with a number of industry leaders and world-class developers to research, design, compile, and create a series of online training modules that address this very pressing requirement. I call it Quality Conversations.